From turnstile to turnstile, let's talk theme parks.
Welcome to Park Hopper Podcast. This is episode 2. I am Dominic Evko. We are here with Peter Burkhart. Peter, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you all for coming back. I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of our new podcast. For any of those people concerned, I have started running for this Dopey Marathon, or Dopey Challenge. Today I took a break. I might go out there tonight, but just know I'm hurting. I've run 8 miles so far in the past 3 days, and my body's feeling it. But I know mentally I'm ready. I'll be there.
I think you're absolutely crazy for even attempting that, but I will be a supportive friend and support you all the way.
Well,
But before we get started, Peter, I think we should obviously, like we said, we thanked everybody for coming back for this episode. But I also want to say thank you for bearing with us with our few ups and downs that we've had with the first episode, but we've learned a lot, and
it's all
we are
learning
excited
experience.
to continue. Right. And we're very excited to get going on this second episode. But we got a very exciting announcement, kind of. I think exciting. You do too. We are going to start this thing called Turnstile Testimonial. So what that is if any of you that are listening have been to a theme park that is international, or just a theme park or amusement park in general, and you've had an experience that you want to share, but I would like to say keep this to a positive experience, like something that you know really are excited that it happened, and you want to right, unique as well.
Yeah.
And you want to share that with us, you can email us at parkhopperpodcast@gmail.com, and we will read those, and we will share those on our podcast.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that. I know that there's some listeners out there that have been to, Dom's been to Cedar Point. I've been to Six Flags Great America out in Illinois. We both have been out to Disneyland, but only once for each of us. So I'm excited to hear those stories that you guys have to share, that you guys will hopefully share with us about parks besides just, Universal and Disney Orlando.
Right. So if, like I said, you can email us at parkhopperpodcast@gmail.com. So Peter, I say we just dive right in and get started. I'm very excited about this episode.
This episode is near and dear by subject matter to both Dom and mine's heart and stomach. And what's really unique, and this really, we didn't realize this until the other day, how lucky this ended up working out. We wanted to do this episode right here. We're going to talk about Epcot, the Epcot International Festival of the Arts the Epcot International Festival of the Arts. And what that is, it's a unique, it's the second year. Technically, it's its first, I'd almost call it like its first official year, because last year it was just on the weekends, but it's like a very special art version of Food and Wine, and it happens to actually start this Friday. So it's very pertinent to us talking about it right now, and giving you some facts and experiences that we've had last year that we got the chance to go to, and what's coming up this year.
Right. And you're lucky enough, you and Sarah get to attend this event again this year. I don't think I will be able to. I will be coming to Florida in just a few weeks, but I think it'll be over with by the time I get there. So I won't be able to enjoy this.
19th. So do you have dates yet? I don't even know if I asked you. Do you have
I will be there.
But probably not in the park, right? So the official start date is this Friday, which is January 12th, and the last day is February 19th. So we got 6 weekends in there of this festival. So not quite the record length of the Food and Wine Festival, but pretty lengthy there still.
Right. And with the other events that they have at Epcot, obviously with Flower and Garden shortly right thereafter, it's really not a huge deal that it's not going as long as the Food and Wine Festival. But let's get started. The big thing, one of the big things with this event is obviously the art. But when people think of art, they might think of paintings and stuff like that, and sculptures. But that's not what this event is just about. When they say art, they mean obviously like your typical the paintings and stuff like that, but the food as well. That is one of the big things that this event has to offer. So Peter, you can go ahead and kind of explain a little bit about what you think on that.
Well, I just want to add to your wonderful description. There is, I believe Disney's actual verbiage is that it is a culinary celebration of food, art, and entertainment. So like Don was just referencing, it's not just the art. It's just there's entertainment involved between performances of Broadway performers and a lot of artwork, and that's what hit. Like we planned our trip to Disney World last year in February just because of availability and what we wanted to do. Sarah and I came down because we knew Dom and Victoria were going to be down here as well. Just we didn't plan to do Festival of the Arts. We just got lucky and we're here, and I was blown away because there's a big difference between food and wine and Festival of the Arts. They're kind of the same in nature, but food and wine is created to handle thousands of guests every single day. It's a giant machine of food producing amazement. Festival of the Arts just wouldn't be able to handle the crowds. It's every piece, every dish you buy is treated like an individual piece of art.
Okay, yeah, and look, kind of what you're saying is how it is a piece of art. Like in Food and Wine Festival, you would get your dishes, I mean, 3 minutes tops, whereas the Festival of the Arts, you're waiting, I mean, sometimes up to 10 plus minutes to get your food item, which, some people don't like, but they like to tell you this is an art form. We want to carefully detail everything that we do with this dish, so that 100% it is an art. It does take work and it does take time, and they are very delicate with what they do.
And I'll even add to that a little personal story from our trip last year. So we had, I believe it was by the America Pavilion, they had a pan seared scallop, and now this was what really blew me away. It was the second stand we went to that day, so it was the second experience with the Festival of the Arts. But this is the dish that I walked up, I ordered, and I watched the cast member take the plate and take a what was it? I have it here, a roasted red pepper sauce. Take a spoon of it, delicately take a couple ounces, smear it on the plate in one direction, turn the plate around, get a new couple ounces of the red crushed red pepper sauce, and smear it in the other direction, and it looked like a yin yang. And then what they did is they took the scallop or put some shredded up chorizo, put it in the center, put the scallop on top, delicately placed a what was that? It was a Parmesan
Uh,
chip. It was like the roasted
Right.
Parmesan chip. And then not only that, I've already been watching this cast member for about 5 minutes now. Him carefully do all this plating and stroking of the sauce that he even pulled out, wiped his hands off, got a new set of gloves, got tweezers, pulled a box out of a cooler of little bulbs of flowers. And he, with those little tweezers, picked up about two to three different flowers, looked at them, put them back almost like saying, that's not good enough for this. Picked out the fourth one and looked at it and placed it on top of the scallop and then gave me my dish. So I got to stand there and for 5 minutes, and now like that's why it's very important to point out that I know this festival is amazing and definitely an experience piece, but it'll never replace or reach the stature of Food and Wine because it can't handle those crowds. But it's with good reason that it can't.
Right.
That's and the food on top of all that little show that I got to experience, the scallop was amazing. I know. I think I remember you and Victoria recently went to Flying Fish.
We in that February trip last February we did go to Flying
I
Fish,
think you went
and
to Flying Fish the night before, so you were too. It was like a too soon thing. You were comparing Flying Fish's delicious 5-star scallops to this scallop. So I know you weren't wowed as much as I were, but I know you loved that presentation.
well, obviously, I mean, we could do a whole episode on Flying Fish, and those truly were some of, if not the best, scallops I've ever had in my life, and they truly were. But when it comes to scallops, I don't know if Peter, I don't know if you're a big scallop eater. I know you've had them, but I truly love scallops. They can go one or two ways, either really good or really bad. It's nearly impossible to just like you can't just do a scallop mediocre because it can come out really really chewy if you do it wrong and rubbery, and people don't like that. That's why a lot of people don't like calamari because it has that chewy rubbery
Like gamey.
consistency, right? And that can happen with scallops. And I kind of remember these. I mean, obviously it was almost a year ago. I do remember liking it, but like you say, going to Flying Fish before and having the best scallops I've ever had in my life, and then to there, yeah, it was hard. It's not fair to the Epcot scallop, but they were still very good.
Right. And I remember, I don't know if you remember, but right after we got the scallops, do you remember me walking away
Yes,
and
I do.
talking to a cast member, a manager?
Yes. Yeah.
So that manager, it was used to be my coordinator because I worked in Epcot in 2011 during our internship, and he was my coordinator back then, and he was now a manager, and he had remembered me, and so we were catching up, and he described to me about how the process worked for the Festival of the Arts and why it was especially unique when it came to the cast members, and why everything was an art piece because for Festival of the Arts, the upper management of Disney, like Walt Disney World, went to the managers and the chefs of Epcot and said, "You know what? We've got this small thing for 4 weekends, just on the weekends. Uh, do what you want."
Right.
And
Because they
with that, they got the chefs and the managers really got to be, it was like their baby. I mean, they only had maybe 2 months to prepare all the dishes and figure out the menus, but they got told they got no restraints. They got told, well, do what you want. So that's why, like, I think there was such great positive feedback, and or at least which I think that's why it was more of an experience to do some of these dishes because the chefs put their heart and soul into them, and then so those cast members that were preparing those recipes were also.
right. And I don't know, like for the Food and Wine Festival, I don't know how it works behind the scenes. I don't know if Disney has a couple handful of chefs and they're saying, you got to design a dish and just sell it mass wide and have everyone, kind of cook this. But um, obviously, we all know I love food, and my brother, he ran a food truck in downtown Detroit, and working on that a lot, I got to see chefs really get creative, and doing that, chefs want to have that creativity that they can do on their own, not being told what to do. So an event like this, where Disney's saying, "Hey, we trust you. Go do what you want," and free game, and just create a dish that you think people will like. That alone, it shows in the dishes itself.
Now, do you think, it's because you referenced your brother. Now, say your brother did that food truck for, Food and Wine's been going on for like 27 years, I think now.
Uh huh.
And some of those dishes have been there all 27 years. Do you think if your brother had that food truck for 27 years and he was told that some of those dishes he has to keep all 27 years, do you think because of the repetitiveness of it, that even if it was a great dish, your brother would be like ecstatic to get told, "All right, what do you want to do? You don't have to do what you've been doing."
Yeah, I mean, obviously he owned it, so he can do whatever he wants.
Hmm.
So like the chefs at Disney, they don't own Disney. They have upper managements telling them what to do. But like you said, will he get ecstatic? Well, I think things always need to change, but don't ruin something that's great. I mean, if you just, I mean, I'll use Detroit as an example. Coney Island's a big thing here. The chili dog with the chili sauce, the onions, and the mustard. That is such a staple in Detroit. Why change it? And they haven't. There's so many different types of Coney Islands here that people just make that Coney dog, the hot dog, the steamed bun, the chili sauce, onions, mustard, and that's it. And people don't mess with it because that's what people know and that's what people love. And with the Food and Wine Festival, there's still certain dishes at stake and people like it. Now with the Festival of the Arts only going into its second year, yeah, as we kind of look at the menu, there's dishes that are very much the exact same as what we saw last year, but those might be because people like those and they wanted to bring them back. But the fact that the chefs have the opportunity to change things when they want to, that's what's nice because they know what they're doing. They're professionals. They've been doing it their whole lives, and being able to do that, I think, will be very nice for this festival.
I agree, and I think another thing that sets this apart from Food and Wine is because the chefs kind of are given free range. I think some of these pavilions, some of these stands, um, not that they're exotic, but they're not for. It's more of a foodie thing, like
Right,
that what you're eating, what they're offering you, isn't it's not a cheeseburger and French fries. It's not fish and chips. It's not going to be the same steak from Brazil that you get every year at Food and Wine that 80% of people who come to visit Disney World are gonna know a steak and understand a steak and just want to get a steak. Like everything's got a puree on it. Everything's got um, this kind of sauce. Everything's been soaked in that. It deconstructed BLT is back for a second year in a row. So now you've got this thing that's got a poached egg on it, but you're told it looks and tastes like supposed to taste like a BLT, but it has
right.
pork belly and a poached egg. Sounds delicious, but if you aren't one to venture out of your food comfort zone, I definitely think Festival of the Arts will push your buttons a little bit there.
And let's not forget to mention that a lot of these dishes are not cheap. They can be on the pricier side. I know you just mentioned to me before we started recording that the first dish that we had was it was like a capers caviar.
It was
Um,
I actually because I watched the video. We'll put down below. We actually have some vlogs on our old channel, the Fab 5207, of this trip. So we'll put the information in this description of this episode. But you can actually see in all of our reactions to the food pieces we had. But you had a smoked salmon tartare that had the caviar with it,
right.
and it was $12. And I've
I
never
could
seen
eat it in
Dom.
2 bites.
I've never seen Dom so critical.
Well, and that's the
It was
thing.
it was it was deserved though because I tried it too. So I am more easily swayed to just turn a blind eye with Disney than Dom is. I am first to confess that.
Yes, you
I
let
have
me.
a Mickey Mouse I have a Mickey Mouse tattoo on my right arm. And me and my wife moved to Disney World and go there typically 7 days a week. So I am more keen to turn a blind eye, but I try to be as transparent as possible. But I will agree with Dom. The taste was for this, especially for the price point. But I love Victoria's description of it, and I brought it up before, but I'll bring it up again. She said it tasted snooty,
Right.
and I was
Well,
nervous because that was the first one we went to, and I didn't want that to set up Festival of the Arts for failure. But I think all four of us, by the time we went around that World Showcase Lagoon, that we were all fans.
right, and I really enjoyed it. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way because we started with it, but those are all expensive component food items. You know, smoked salmon typically is a little bit more of an expensive item. Caviar obviously is very expensive, and so you know it's going to be up there. But obviously Disney is Disney, and they are able to upcharge. And I guess when you say I am a little bit more critical, that doesn't mean I don't love Disney. I love Disney.
Yeah,
Uh,
I know
you
it.
know, I love it, but I know that Disney can do things a certain way, and when I have seen it time and time again that they do great things, I just want them to continue to do great things. And when I think that something is a little uh, not up to their standards, I'm not afraid to voice my opinion just because I know how great they are.
And we need those. We need those Disney World guests like you. But I will say that like that little spiel I gave about the pan-seared scallop, that was a 625 dish, and that was a decent size, probably about just as much stuff as your $12 smoked salmon. I know that's to do with ingredients. And then I think later on in the night, do you remember that? I don't know the exact name, but it was like a chocolate mousse that Sarah got in the evening. That night she got a chocolate
I
mousse that
think.
had like gold dusted
Oh, I did remember that.
um, marshmallow dust on top of a line of marshmallows, and that was $4, 425 plus
Yeah.
tax. And so like that for a Disney dessert, even at Food and Wine, is relatively the same as a Food and Wine dish.
And we also had in the Mexican pavilion, we had like a chorizo quesadilla type thing that was also pretty reasonably priced. So there are those dishes that are a little bit cheaper, but then there's also those ones that are very expensive.
Yeah. What else did we do that day at the Festival of the Arts? I
Well,
know the
obviously, outside of the food, there's the painting. We did the painting up on, I think it was right in between Canada and Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. There's a painting that you can do. It's a little square that you got to paint with your color, and it turned out to be Olive World Showcase. So I assumed they would probably do that again this year, but that was also a cool little free activity that you can do. And by the end of the day, it was completely painted.
Yeah, I think yeah, they finish those every weekend. It was kind of like a paint by numbers. Like you walked up, they gave you a couple colors, and the paint had a number on the bottom, and you found the square with those numbers. Now we I'm sure we'll get back to food because that's what keeps me and Dom waking up every day is food, whether it's Festival of the Arts, Food and Wine, Coney Island, or Chicago Deep Dish. But they do have the other aspect. They really push the art, and for the art enthusiasts of the world, you're really going to enjoy this festival. They have theater. They've got Disney on Broadway. So each weekend. So last year it was just a weekend event. This year it's 7 days a week, but the entertainment is restricted to just the weekend. And they've got a whole slew of prior Broadway stars coming in to sing some songs. Do you remember what songs or what musicals we heard last year, Dom?
It well, it was the people from The Lion King.
Yeah,
Did you?
Alton
Uh,
Fitzgerald White, and Kissy Simmons.
I do not remember her name.
I looked it up
I'm
like
sorry.
10 minutes ago. All
I
I
I
remember her
was eating
name
sushi
because
during this.
you were eating sushi because we picked up some Japan, and I ate a protein bowl I think from, or no, I had ramen from Japan, and I was disappointed in it. It was blah.
From the quick service.
Yeah, the quick
Yeah,
service at Japan, I was not impressed, and to be honest, I haven't been back.
I felt
Yet.
like everything was very salty,
Hmm.
a lot of sodium.
Which is sad because Tepanetto, right across the street,
Right,
delicious.
it was very good.
But that's neither here nor there. They we did hear they think they sang some songs from Lion King and Little Mermaid, didn't they?
It was, and they sang a couple other songs that weren't from Disney films, I believe too. They sang some Broadway show that was big on Broadway, but it wasn't a Disney. I don't know if you remember. I can't remember. I can't put a name
I
on it.
don't
I'm not a
recall
big
either,
Broadway
but
guy,
they
so
were
I don't know.
all, yeah, that was the best part was leaving that. Dom and Victoria aren't the biggest Broadway fans, so we leave there, and it was me, Sarah, our friend Jill, Dom and Victoria, and me, Sarah, and Jill were in theater in high school. We go to, whenever we get a chance, we try to go to a show on a stage somewhere for theater, and so we're all like jumping up and down, having the time of our life. And I remember looking at Dom and Victoria's like, "What'd you guys think?" And Victoria's like, they had good voices. They had good, like they were
Which they
trying.
did.
They were. You guys were trying to be so nice and being like, yeah, that was good, but like you could just tell there was no getting around it. They were so ready to just let's just go eat some more food.
Well, I like the songs that I know. I knew the
Hmm.
Little Mermaid, the Lion King songs, but once they started singing the songs, I
Yeah,
had
that's
no clue
hard.
what they were. I don't relate to it. It's not that I don't think they're talented at what they do. They were very talented. It's just not something that I um, have a lot of knowledge on.
Right, right. Now, what didn't it was the Festival of the Arts where we saw a lot of the artwork like chalk art, right?
They did do a lot of chalk art, and then they had a lot of paintings. They did the paintings around World Showcase where you could stick your heads in, and
Oh, that's right.
the
The interactive portraits where we did
right,
like us four stood on the boat and took a picture like we were with Washington crossing the
right,
Delaware.
yeah.
That was a lot of fun. They had those at almost every pavilion, I believe, a different scene. I think they'd scream at one of them, that famous painting with a weird
Right.
face. They go ahead.
They had the painting. It's kind of food related again, typical me. But they had the painting where you could actually paint your food. I believe Sarah did it, right?
Yeah, she did because it was like it was a cookie,
I believe so.
and it almost reminded me of like a Pop Tart, didn't it?
Yeah,
And
I
then
didn't try it.
you got to paint, and Goofy with the outline of Goofy I think was on it, and you got
Yeah,
different edible colored paints, and you got to paint your dish. And I want to say that was like only $3 or $4.
right.
So there are options for little ones all over the place because on top of a heavy influence of like unique food dishes, they do a good selection of alcoholic beverages, of non-alcoholic beverages, and a lot of sweets. I feel like when you tell a chef that to have free range, I feel like if they want to get artsy with it, they'll go the bakery route. They'll go desserts. They'll
Right.
start baking weird things, getting crazy with ingredients, and you
Can do a
see some of
lot.
that. You can.
And then they also had, once you got kind of out of World Showcase into more of the Future World area, they have that empty kind of convention center area where they did all those paintings that you and Sarah, well, yeah, Sarah knew a lot about. I forgot the woman's name.
Mary Blair.
Yes, Mary Blair.
Yeah, they had a whole little section in the oh, I'm pulling a blank on what that building's called.
Is it the, oh, wait, no.
No.
I feel like it starts with the no.
Odyssey.
Odyssey, yes,
The Odyssey
Odyssey.
Pavilion, the old Odyssey Pavilion. That's where the Mary Blair paintings were to showcase her work through her ages, and then they had some of the original original pieces of artwork to plan out Epcot, and they also had the original painting of Disneyland, which is like the inspiration for Dapper Day. Like the original group of people that planned Dapper Day out in Disneyland saw this beautiful painting of what Disneyland was going to be in, and everyone was in their outfit, their Sunday best, if you would like to put it that way. And then that's what inspired them. People used to wear their suits and dresses and bonnets to Disney World and Disneyland, and people just not doing it now. You can show up in your gym shorts and flip flops and just woken up, and
and fanny
that's what
packs.
inspired Disney or Dapper Day to begin. To let's bring back at least one day out of the year. Let's and obviously it's developed into more than that, but one day out of the year, let's get some fancy clothes on. Let's show this park some old time respect.
Right. I think it was to. I think the reason they brought back Dapper Day a couple times a year is for people like you because they're sick of seeing people wearing flip flops, cargo shorts, polos, and fanny packs.
Oh, oh, because of me, I'm
Yes.
causing Dapper Day.
Yes.
You know
Hey,
what?
speaking of fanny packs, I know I dissed you a lot because of your fanny pack, but this past October, I know we're getting kind of off track, but this past October, I went to Cedar Point for Halloween weekends with all my cousins and my brother and my girlfriend, and I wore a fanny pack, and they laughed at me at first, but I'll tell you what, a couple hours into the trip, they were all giving me their stuff to put in my fanny pack when went on those roller coasters. So
Nobody never doubt the fanny pack.
I am pro fanny pack now.
And I greatly apologize if we have any listeners from across the pond. I just recently learned that that's not an appropriate phrase to say over in the UK area of the world.
What,
But
fanny
that's
pack?
yes,
Oh, I
it's
did not know that.
called a bum bag over there. So
Okay.
fanny pack or a fanny is a bad word to say over in the UK. So they call them bum bags.
Okay.
But
Well, I
we're
apologize.
gonna call them fanny packs because that's what we call them and own them and use them as. You know what, Dom? As since we've moved here, the fanny pack has been retired.
Why? Oh, you got the
We
backpack
got the
now.
backpack now, and we're super organized now. It was different before, but I think a lot of it has to do with the magic bands and the we don't do as many character signings anymore because the fanny
Yeah.
pack was perfect for holding pins, everybody's ticket into the park, and everybody's autograph books.
Right.
And now that we live here and we go there 6 to 7 days a week, we're not going to do character meet and greets all the time. Now we wear our tickets and pins go in the backpack with all of our camera equipment because we're vlogging and taking photos and self documenting our documentarian. We're self recording our
Yeah.
lives. So yeah, it's been retired. I still have it. I fully
It's
believe
not hung
when
up.
no.
Hey, put it in a case. Put it in a glass case and hang it up
I
in
should get
front
a
of the
shadow
fireplace.
box. Yeah,
Yeah.
get a shadow box, put it on the wall, give it the proper respect it needs.
I think Sarah would like it if it was hung right on the back of your backboard
Yeah,
on
right
your
next to
bed.
the
So you can.
next to the 8 mile sign that you got us, right?
You should listen. If you don't think I don't realize that that 8 mile sign is not up in your house, I realize it, and it needs to be hung up.
All right. While we digressed here, I did pull up. I just want to give a little bit of background into some of the Disney on Broadway stars that are coming in to perform this year. Now, like I said, these are only on the weekends, and they come in pairs of two. So the first weekend we've got a Cara Lindsay, who is from Newsies. I think I actually saw her during the traveling Newsies, and she'll be performing with Kevin Macy. Kevin Macy is from the national tour of A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, Memphis, and Big River.
Oh,
Then, of course,
That's a good one.
the same couple that we saw last year, Dom, is coming back. Kissy Simmons and Alton Fitzgerald White. Both were in Lion King.
Well, he's now the genie in Aladdin, I believe.
Is he? Let me
I
see
think he
here.
is. I'm
He was King
almost positive.
Mufasa. He was in The Color Purple, which I think was one of his bigger roles. Uh, he was an author. He wrote a book called My Pride: Mastering Life's Daily Performance. I'm gonna digress again. I think I'm gonna write a book one day.
So a marathon and a book.
Well, no, no. You know what? I'm marathon's January 9th of 2019. I got a date for that. I don't have a date for my book, but I think I might write a book. I was just talking to Sarah about this yesterday. That I either might write it myself or we might write it together.
Like a documentary type book, or
I think I'd want it to focus on kind of like I think it got stemmed from our first podcast about the different ways people view Disney World, but
uh huh,
not, I think Disney World would be the shell. What the heart of the story would be is people's different way of looking at life.
uh huh,
There's the pessimistic, there's the optimistic, there's everybody in between. Everybody's got a little bit of everything. but how you can live your life, how those different ways affect how you live your life. And
So
I would
we've
use Disney World and me living here and seeing thousands of people every day as like my almost study case or case study.
we've been friends for 7 years.
7 years.
7 years in, and I've learned something new about you in the past couple days we've done this podcast.
What is that?
That you're a marathon runner and you're an author.
There you go.
I spent 7 years. I'm just finding this out.
I can't believe it's been 7 years.
7 years.
Still, hey, you got an apartment, a free apartment here for you and Lil Vic.
Yeah.
We can live in the same state again. All right.
Just if you would invite me.
Just if I invited you?
Yeah, if you invite me, you never invite me.
I'll invite you. The last weekend of Festival of the Arts. Now this is a good one. I might have to actually go see this week and make sure I make a point. So Ashley Brown will be here with Josh Strickland. Now, Dom, I know you are an avid thespian and supporter of the theater and arts, and you patron them often. Do you know what Ashley Brown was in?
Yeah, she was in that one show.
You're right. That one called Mary Poppins.
Right? Yeah, that's what I
And then
said.
she also starred as Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway.
Right, I said that 2 seconds ago. You didn't hear me?
Oh, you know what? Audio must have cut out there.
Yeah.
And then she was also in The Sound of Music. And then Josh Strickland was
That name
Tarzan.
rings a bell.
Tarzan?
Okay.
Does that
No,
ring a bell?
Josh Strickland.
Josh Strickland. He was in Tarzan on Broadway, and he was also on the tour of Rent.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, I would probably go see him. You know what? I'd go see Alton and Kissy again too, because they were a good time. And I like Kissy Simmons' name because she's actually from Kissimmee, Florida, which is where I live. And she told a story that I'll never forget her name because of that. Because she said, "My name is Kissy Simmons, and I am from my hometown of Kissimmee, Florida, just down the road here. And all the little boys used to chase me, going, 'Kissimmee, Kissimmee.'" Get it?
And
Kissimmee.
hey, rent is at one, right? 1,2,500, 600 minutes. How do you measure a year? Right? That's rent, right?
That is Rent. You are right. You're getting some major
probably
credit right now from our viewers.
Probably butchered the numbers in that.
You know, I think you hit it right.
But it's the Dominic version. It's the remix.
It's the remix.
Victoria always tells me I make up my own words. I go, no, it's the remix.
It's the D-Town version.
Yeah, you just hearing it for the first time.
All right, what have we missed here so far? I know. Oh, the seminars. We didn't touch base on the seminars at all.
We did not.
Now, there's a big difference, I think, between Food and Wine and Festival of the Arts, and I think the seminars are something to really point out, because I know Food and Wine's got a good amount of free seminars, if I remember.
Yes.
They have a lot going on, and so does Flower and Garden. But from what the research I was doing, because we were just here on vacation last year, so obviously we were only there for one day, so we didn't do any of the seminars. But doing some research to see what's coming up with the whole festival, there's a lot of seminars going on, whether for painting, for cooking. I even saw a planting one, but a lot of them have a roughly the average price of $39 plus tax per person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And obviously those ones where you're cooking, you're going to get a meal out of it, maybe a glass of wine.
Nice.
You're going to learn a lot. You're going to be hands-on in cooking that meal. But a lot of these, almost every seminar workshop I've seen has been around $39. And they've even got sculpting, painting, floral arranging is what I thought, and the art of wood carving.
Is that something that you and Sarah are gonna do? Try one of those seminars?
We might go to the festival center and they showcase a lot of that and see if there's anything that really, really jumps out at us. But as of right now, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. See, think about Sarah and I. We go to Disney World 7 days a week, and think about buying a bottle of water 7 days a week at Disney World. It gets pricey sometimes.
No, you always got to bring your own water.
Yeah, I know we do, and we always eat dinner at home and sneak some snacks in there in our backpack. But maybe I'd have to look at it and see if one really pops out, really piques both of our interests. But you never know. I do see they have a DVC and an annual pass discount of 15%, so that's cool. Probably can't use both of them, but at least get 15% off of that $39 price per person.
It's better than nothing.
Exactly. So you know what, Dom? We as we stated this whole little conversation, there's a lot going on at Festival of the Arts, but I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Let's go back to food because that's what you and I are live and breathe for,
I'm
and
ready, baby. I'm
always ready.
ready.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, second lunch, second dinner, second breakfast. But
Midnight
there's a
snack.
midnight snack. I forgot that. Thank you. There's a lot of options here at the Festival of the Arts, and it brings me back to moments of nerve and anxiety. You know, the first day of Food and Wine, and the last year when we first got to Festival of the Arts, and how do you handle choosing what? Because you're not gonna go in there and buy every dish. You're not gonna go in there and try every drink or dessert. So how do you handle and how do you begin that process of picking?
Right, for me, and I guess I could say this just in general when it comes to food and going to restaurants. I like to do my research, right? Whether that's going online and going on Yelp and researching what people like, but when it comes in terms of the Festival of the Arts, do a lap, around World Showcase. Kind of get that mile and a half walk in, kind of look around, see what people are eating, and see what you like. I wouldn't necessarily go, say you're at one pavilion, you see a ton of people eating there. Just because a ton of people are eating there doesn't necessarily mean it's good. So don't just get it and walk into line just because someone else is doing it. See what you like, know what you like. You're your own person. You know what food you like. Try to find something that matches what you like and go and get it. And if you don't like it. At least you tried. Especially with these things, they're not cheap. So you don't want to get something because you know just because you just walked in a random line and then you spend $12 like we did and then you're disappointed. Sometimes it's
There it
just
is
your
again.
one
There's
time
that
there.
disappointment in that $12 dish. She's never gonna let it go.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
I know
You,
what you
you
mean.
spend a lot of money going to Disney. You want everything to be perfect, and it's not always going to be that way. But find what you like and go for it.
You know what I do? What we did a lot with this Food and Wine this past season because it was the first one we lived here. Sarah and I tried at least one thing from every pavilion or every stand. So we probably went to Food and Wine um, over 15 times. And what we would do, we had no plan about how to conquer it. We weren't going to go stand by stand. We literally just kept walking around. I'm the same way. I got to see the food, and I went up and asked the cast members. I'm like, "What's?" I wouldn't ask them if the food in this stand is good because of course they're going to say yes, but I'd ask them always, "What's your favorite dish out of the stand?" And sometimes I'd throw them a curveball, and after they'd answer me, I'd ask them, "What's your least favorite?"
Yeah,
Because they're always going to say that you might get a customer that says, "Oh, the $12 dish," because it's a
right,
$12 dish. But then you ask them the least favorite, they'll give you an honest opinion, and then maybe they'll even tell you why they don't like it. Maybe they have an allergy, maybe they just really don't like honey mustard or something like that. And then you'll kind of get eliminate some of those options, or some of those options might really stick out if you can really tell the guest or cast member you're talking to is super passionate about that amazing sirloin steak from Brazil, and just you're gonna have to get in line and wait 30 minutes for that dish and
right,
spend the $7 on it.
right.
I'd agree.
Hundred
That's
percent.
the perfect way to do it. So I think we dove enough into this. I think we've solidified ourselves as foodies to our listeners, and they all know that we should get regular cholesterol checks. Make sure that we're balancing out all of the takeout food and restaurant food that we eat with some oats and some running around the block. Maybe a dopey challenge or two.
You should eat some Wheaties, especially since you're gonna be running. You should definitely have some Wheaties.
I think I might go for a run after this recording.
I think that's crazy,
I'm
but be my
so I'm
guest.
so inspired by the food, and I want to eat it all that I got to take my mind off it. I just got to hop out there,
You
put
do
the
you.
shoes on, knock out 2 miles, come back, eat a bunch of candy.
Well, then it defeats the purpose of the run.
No, I won't do that. But we'll see about the run. But I just want to bring up again. We're really excited about this podcast. We want to thank you again for listening in. We would love to hear any kind of feedback, whether it's in the comments. So far, we have been put on multiple websites. The main ones being Podbean, which is our home. We are on iTunes, and hopefully by the time this is up on Sunday, we will be on Amazon or Google Play. But we will keep you updated on that. Um, but please send us some comments. Send us what you want to see this develop into, besides just us talking about these certain things. If there's certain aspects like what Dom's little idea here of the turnstile testimonial.
Right. And like you said, you can do that on email us at parkhopperpodcast@gmail.com. You can do the testimonials and just what you want us to talk about as well.
Oh, and don't forget that we're going to put the links down below to Dom and Victoria's new YouTube channel. We'll put my link to mine and Sarah's daily vlog, but more importantly, I'll highlight on there um, the two YouTube videos of us going to Festival of the Arts last year. And actually, when you're listening to this, if you're listening to this the day it's posted, it's a Sunday. There'll actually be the vlog of opening day from when Sarah and I go this Friday to Festival of the Arts. So we're gonna go there. We're gonna get a couple pieces, maybe 2 or 3 entrees, and maybe one dessert. I'm looking to get maybe 4 or 5 dishes out of it to see. Obviously, I'm not gonna buy the $12 smoked salmons, but we're gonna take a lap, maybe two, get some of the pamphlets, get some shots of the menus, and really get because it's 6 weeks here. We really want to get the information out. So if you're coming on vacation or if you are local, that you can come and not miss out because I loved it last year, and I'm sure we're gonna love it this year.
Very exciting. Very exciting. And like you said, those old videos are on the Fab Five 207. No, I'm sorry. The Fab Five 207 YouTube channel. And that's where these podcasts are going to be at as well.
Yeah,
They are on that
forgot about
channel.
that.
So,
Hashtag Dom start that podcast.
hashtag Dom start that podcast.
I'd also like to let you all know about a little something that we are getting started. It is currently live right now. Going to get everything started going, but it's called a Patreon. And what Patreon is a website, Patreon.com. And what this is, it's a special platform that'll give Dom and myself a way to interact with any of our audience members that would like to see a little bit more exclusive content, while at the same time giving a little pledge to help fund some of the things that we are have in the works to provide to the Park Hopper podcast, whether it's a special new episodes, special trips for the episodes, new equipment. Really, it's a place for our most loyal audience members to kind of connect with one another and myself and Dom to kind of start a good community there. But in addition to that, you'll get the opportunity to see exclusive content, like a special a mini podcast that'll be put up every other week, as well as some special videos that'll be posted just for patrons. And so how this works is it's a monthly pledge of however a small or larger amount of monetary value you like to put towards it. And there's different tiers here. Like for instance, the one park ticket is a $3 a month pledge, which gives you special access to the patron only content, which includes a bunch of photos, links, posts that we'll be putting up throughout the every couple of days there for everybody. And you'll also be listed on our Facebook page as a patron of ours and an avid supporter of us as well. Then it increases up to $5 for a one park ticket, parking included. We had a little fun there with the different titles to the different tiers. And what this includes is everything previous. As you go up in these tiers, you get everything in the previous tier. And what is exclusive to this tier is you get access to the Park Hopper podcast a whole day early. So we're gonna have it every week on Saturdays. We'll have them posted just for our one park ticket, parking included members. They'll also have access to a pre-show outline a couple days early, just to give them a heads up of what we're going to discuss, what's coming through to come out their way. And then we're also starting the mini podcasts and the videos, which are titled I4 Rambles, a little spin-off of some Peter Rambles there, where Dom and I will have a couple minutes, maybe 2 to 4 minutes, a little podcast about anything in particular, but a little more specialized and a little snippet of it, rather than these extended discussions that we're going to have here on Sundays. And then the ride through Roundhouse, which is going to be something very unique that I'm very excited to get started on. And it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to be twice a month or 1 or 2 times a month. We're going to post a video where it'll be a point of view video of a ride or area shots of a ride. And what it's going to be is it's going to be commentary through either Dom or myself. We probably won't be doing them together. It'll be one or the other. We'll switch off, giving history, fun facts, opinions, just anything about that ride specifically. And you will see a bulk of that being at Disney because that is where Sarah and myself are spending most of our time until we get our Universal annual passes, which should be happening soon with Mardi Gras around the corner. But what you'll see is commentary, fun facts, and everything about that. I'm excited about that because it's a unique experience that we're going to offer. Up to $10 a month is a park hopper ticket, which is you'll be eligible for the monthly giveaway, which can be anything from treats from Main Street to exclusive pass holder giveaways that we receive through the parks, and we'll switch it up every month. A personal sponsored podcast, so you'll have an entire podcast dedicated to yourself, where we get to mention a name, your name, or a loved one's name, or any group or organization as well. And then it continues with different tiers. But the important part is that we're all having fun with this, and we appreciate all of your support. You can access this website at patreon.com/Park Hopper Podcast. Once again, Patreon, patreon.com/Park Hopper Podcast.
So we just want to thank everybody again for listening. We appreciate the support. You can follow Peter and Sarah's journey on the Brookheart Project on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me and my girlfriend Victoria at Dom and Vic, our YouTube channel, and that's kind of where we go around the city of Detroit and our food scene, and also on Instagram at Dom and Vic East Detroit. And thank you again for listening. And until next time, this is the Park Hopper Podcast.